you ever poured your heart into something, done everything in your control, only to be met with rejection? Thought you had a connection or an opportunity with someone that never really felt the same way. I want everyone to close their eyes for a moment and think of a time they had been rejected, knowing they were more than deserving of whatever it was they worked for. What were you feeling in that moment? What thoughts were rushing through your head? Were you angry? Disappointed? I know I was. That was almost my entire career. Going into high school volleyball, I had never played before. I was a soccer player my entire life, and I was inexperienced. I'd never been taught technique, and I'd never been developed. Now, I play for Beta Bay Boys Volleyball Club. It is one of the biggest and most prestigious volleyball clubs in the country. We have top-tier talent coming in, flying from out of state, from states like Texas, Arizona, Colorado, all just wanting to be a part of our culture. Now, for a little bit of context, there are about 4 different teams for each age group, ranging from the ones team all the way down to the fours team. And every kid will work their entire high school career just for the opportunity to get on one of these ones teams. I mean, they get all the fame, they get the best coaching. Why wouldn't you want to be on the ones team? You get to say you are. To get myself into this first milestone, it was my 16th year, and I had to develop my own style. Since I didn't have this technique, since I didn't have this development, I had to find a way to get myself on that court and contribute to my team. Now, here's an example of one of the most popular ways I was able to do that. Now, although many people see this as cheap or lame, it got me the point, and it got me on the court. It got me to where I wanted to be, winning. Now, with this style came many comments, whispers, gossip, and just outright disdain. Everyone thought I wasn't playing the game the correct way. Parents would even yell at me from the sidelines, telling me to hit the ball, curse at me. But this fueled me. I liked making them mad, and I liked winning. Now, many of you know Southern California as a beautiful landscape with beaches and amazing colleges, but it is also the biggest heart for club volleyball. It's the biggest spotlight for young kids to get recruited, to be seen, and to win. Thousands of kids from over 660 different teams across the country will fly out to downtown LA to compete. And this tournament was my first real exposure to club volleyball and the high intensity it brought. So last year, in my 17th year, I was playing for Beta Bay 17-1s. This was my first tournament where I really was surrounded with the best players in the country. And I had to use my style against these players. But I soon realized that if I didn't feed into everyone else, I wasn't going to succeed. So going into this tournament, we had actually lost our first game. We went 0-1. We were the first seed in our pool, going against the last seed in our pool, which was the worst team. But no, we had lost. I decided to use the other people's style, the style they wanted me to play. But it's okay. We found our way, we talked about it, and we carried our momentum through the rest of the day. We were able to go from 0-1 to 3-1, winning the rest. And we brought this into day 2 and day 3. Now, I found myself on fire after playing with confidence and feeding off this energy. And game after game, I would face these best players and use my style successfully. And in that moment, I realized there was no correct way to play volleyball. Why did I have to go into everyone else's mindset of how I should play? I fully embraced this style, and I scored nearly 3 times the average amount throughout the regular tournament. Now, we made the finals, and we lost the first set due to me playing this regular style. But going into the second and third sets, I fully embraced the way I wanted to play, not listening to everybody else. We gave every ounce of energy into each other and eventually came back to secure this final game in the second and third set. Now, I was honored the all-tournament MVP in this tournament, and it was my first real acknowledgement that I was going to be able to use my style for the next 4 years of college and hopefully be able to live out my dream. But no, I thought phones were going to start calling, I thought emails were going to become answered, but they didn't. College after college, after college said no. What had I done wrong? Was it truly impossible for me to play in college? I was confused. Why was I not getting offers? Like every other athlete, when your dreams get shattered, you feel heavy in your heart. Am I not going to be able to continue doing what I love? My path was now spiraled. Negative thoughts and disappointment now stood where motivation and love once was. But failure was not the end. I wasn't going to let this stand in my way. This rejection did not define me. I committed to an intense routine, waking up at 5:30 in the morning, eating well, not hanging out with friends, putting in all of my effort into practices and games. I wanted to make sure I never heard another no again. Now this led me into my summer season. This is the most important season for boys volleyball entirely. This season holds AAU Nationals, which is held in Orlando, Florida. It is the biggest tournament, holding around 1,355 teams from all over the country to come and compete and showcase their talents. Now, usually we spend around 4 months prior training, building connections, and developing in order to win this tournament and make sure we get the title of the #1 team in the country. Now, when we first got to Florida, obviously a few nerves were in our system, but we were confident in our development and all of our hard work that we had put in. And going into days 1, 2, and 3, we felt like we knew what we were doing. We were feeding into each other, playing well, our energy was high, but now we had to go into the most brutal day, day 4. After 3 days of long hours of volleyball, you're playing against the best players in the country on sore legs. And worst of all, in front of all the college coaches you want to impress. Our success continued, and we got ourselves to the finals in that day 4. But we are now matched up against the #1 team in the country. 7-footers, D1 players, kids who were basically raised playing volleyball. Now, our hearts were pounding, the nerves were high, but we had won that first set, and we had pushed through the second. And this is one of the most influential moments in my life, knowing that I was able to get to my goal through this unconventional style. It's actually very funny. The final point of this final match happened to be one of these unconventional kills. We had done it. We won. And through an unconventional kill. Being able to play a crucial role in that victory was one of the best feelings in my entire life. I was so happy. It was pure relief, but something felt off. I wasn't committed. I wasn't able to continue my career and follow my dream for the next 4 years. Now, although I wasn't committed, my teammates were, and I was so proud of them. I was proud of where we had gotten to win that national tournament, and I was proud of the work they put in to get themselves to that place as well. But it felt unfair. Had I not put in the same work, had I not put in more dedication, what was wrong? Now, prior to this tournament, I'd actually reached out to UC Santa Barbara hundreds of times before this, emailing them, calling them, reaching out to coaches, but not a single email had been opened. But funny enough, a few weeks after that national tournament, UC Santa Barbara had texted me. They wanted me out to their campus for an official visit, where I could tour the school, stay with their kids, and feel how boys volleyball felt. They saw the intensity and they saw the fight, and they thought it would fit into their program, so they offered me a scholarship. The very school that had ignored me hundreds of times was now giving me an opportunity. They were opening their doors for me, letting me into their program. And with one door came many more. My opportunities didn't stop at UC Santa Barbara. I was able to gain opportunities to play with experiences like Team USA, training, and even national tournaments with Team Spain. And my most proud accomplishment is now going to be this July. I'll be representing Team Spain in Uzbekistan, playing in the World Championships. And what once seemed like rejection was now actually a redirection that led me to greater opportunities like international volleyball. Now, the most important part about my talk isn't about the volleyball. It's not about what you can do with sports and how you can play into them, but it's about the resilience that you need to get yourself to the next place no matter what you are doing in your life. Rejection isn't the end. It's a guidepost leading you to something greater. So I want you guys to remember one thing. Being the last pick doesn't mean that you are the least wanted. It's just telling you are exactly where you need to be in order to be the best. Thank you.